Hello everyone. Today we are going to conduct product training on the advanced features and configuration of DINSTAR UC IP PBX. First of all, you can see the same page of this training clearly marked UC IP PBX, advanced function and configuration. Through the following study, you will fully understand the core advanced features of this product and the configuration methods of various common core scenarios. Next, let's look at the forwards. This training mainly has two core objectives. One is to detail the advanced features of DINSTAR using IPPX so that you can clearly understand the advantage and characteristics of this product in terms of function. The other is to focus on explaining the configuration steps of this advanced feature and common core scenarios. Now that we know the core content of the training, let's clarify the specific objectives of this course. Through this training, you will be able to learn how to configure common core scenarios, understand how to use these scenarios, and master the advanced features of this product. These objectives are closely linked to your daily work and will lay a solid foundation for your subsequent business development and technical support. Let's take a look at the overall structure of this training. The content is mainly divided into two parts. The first part is common core scenarios and configuration, and the second part is advanced feature and configuration. This structure is arranged from basic to advanced, which is convenient for everyone to gradually master the relevant knowledge. The first part we are going to learn is common core scenarios and configuration, which mainly includes 5 key contents: IMS configuration, SIP trunk to MTG, SIP trunk to IAD or FRO, number matching, and manipulation. And these are the most frequently encountered application scenarios in the actual use of UC IPPBX. First, let's understand the main scenario of IMS configuration. The first is that when the operator opens IMS accounts, the user needs to successfully register the IMS platform. The IP phone is registered with the SIP intention of the UC, which enables internal intention calling one hand and outbound calling through IMS on the other hand. Next, we will learn the specific configuration steps. The first step of the IMS configuration is SIP extension setting. The specific operation steps are as follows. First, click extension and call group. Then turn to SIP extension. Second, create a new SIP extension and configure the extension number and password. Third, fill in the DID and the outbound CID as the operator's number. First, select the network port. Then let's take a look here. Here we set up a DID number. This DID means that any number calling this number will directly connect to the corresponding extension. The priority of this DID is higher than that of the local extension and also higher than that of the root. And regarding the outbound CID, we can directly configure the number assigned by the operator. In this case, it's very convenient for us to place calls directly to the operator without performing any number conversion. This is one of our key features. The device registers directly to the local extension and when making outbound calls, no number modification is required, enabling seamless and direct calls to the operator. Next, let's take a look at the connectivity. Since we are registering to the IMS platform, a connection is definitely required. This connection is established through SIP trunk registration, which allows the device to register with and communicate with the IMS platform. So let's look at the SIP trunk configuration. This part mainly includes some standard settings such as the server address. The IMS platform is usually provided as a domain name, while the process server is typically configured with an IP address. For the registration mode, we can choose either single account or just account group, which provides great flexibility. When account group registration is selected, multiple accounts can be registered to the IMS platform. Of course, single account registration is also supported if required. In addition, when registering to the IMS platform, the safe hash domain is usually set to the server address. This is a common requirement when interfacing with an IMS platform. Next, let's take a look at the routing configuration. Here we can see that routing settings are available. For the outbound routes, we can define which extensions are launched to make outbound calls to the IMS platform. However, in this course, we don't configure an inbound route. The reason is that in the first step, we have already configured DID numbers on the CP extension. DID matching has a higher priority than routing rules, so inbound calls are processed based on the DID configuration first. As a result, the inbound route configuration can be omitted. Okay, let's take a quick look at this configuration. I will show you a demo about it. For example, I have set up a account group, which allows us to manage multiple accounts at once. Taking my 618 task group as an example, we can either create accounts individually or create them in bulk, just like this. Currently, I have already figured 4 accounts, and we can add more in bulk if needed. For instance, if the previous batch ended at 8,000, the next batch can start from 8,005. The number of accounts to create can be chosen based on requirements. Here, I will create 3 as a demonstration. Regarding the step, if we set it to 1, the accounts will increase sequentially. For example, 8,005, 8,006, and 8,007. The password policy can be selected according to the situation. Here, I use the same with username policy. Once configured, the 3 accounts will be added successfully. Now let's get back to the Citron configuration. When registering to the IMS platform, we can choose single account registration where we simply fill in the username and passwords, just like this. If we choose account group registration, we just select the account group, allowing multiple accounts to be registered at once. This method is very convenient to interface with the operator and significantly improves configuration efficiency. Okay, let's move to the next part. The most common method is the director SIP connection via a SIP trunk is configured in the IMS platform. But there is also another method which is usually connects through the MTG gateway. The MTG gateway is connected to the operator via an E1 line. and then interface with the UC through a SIP trunk. And the other option is connecting via regular telephone lines, which use FHIO gateways. This will be mentioned later. Now we will mainly talk about the connecting between UC and the MTG gateway. The extension is set up in the same way as before. The DID number can be configured according to the requirements for the outbound CID, which determines the number displayed for outgoing calls. When the extension make a call, the operator will see the config DID as the from number instead of the extension or number. Next, let's look at the SIP trunk configuration, which is used to connect to the MTG gateway. When connecting to MTG, you mainly need to configure its IP address and port, which makes the setup fairly simple. Since both devices are from the same manufacturer, the interconnection protocol is straightforward. So the IP and the ports are the key settings. Other SIP configurations are mostly standards. In general, you just need to select the operator network interface SIP profile, and that's sufficient. Next, let's configure the core routing. In the core routing settings, we can choose, for example, to have local extensions route their calls through the MTG gateway. And inbound routes can also be configured, but if DID numbers already been set on the extension, configuring an inbound route is optional. Next, let's look at the third connection scenario, which is connecting the gateway for analog phone lines, such as the FHIO gateway. This type of connection is relatively simple because it uses traditional phone lines. You just plug the phone line directly into the gateway into the gateway's RJ11 port. What we focus on here is how the UC IP PBX to connect to the FHIO gateway. And in this case, the connection is still made using a SIP trunk. Next, we move on to the extension configuration. First, we create an extensions. These extensions can be assigned to internal export extensions or to SIP extensions. The extensions can also be created in bulk, which makes the configuration more convenient. Next is the SIP trunk integration. Since both devices are from the same manufacturer, our DINSTAR, the compatibility is very good and the setup is quite simple. In most cases, you only need to configure an IP address and port, and that is basically sufficient. For the routing configuration, both inbound and the outbound routes need to be set. Since the connection is based on traditional analog phones, DID is not very effective and is not strictly required in this scenario. Therefore, when integrating with an IAD gateway, we don't use DID configuration. Instead, call handling is done directly through routing. The inbound route directs incoming calls to the target extension. The outbound route sends calls from local extension to the FHIO port gateway. Next, we will learn the first common call scenario, number matching. Its main scenario is that the users can set a prefix for calling numbers or code numbers. When the prefix of a calling number or code number matches the set prefix, the call will be routed to the corresponding destination. For example, in the figure, when the call's prefix is 6 and the length is 7, the call is routed to the sales ring group. When the call's prefix is 7 and the length is 7, the call is routed to the text ring group. This function can help users better manage all routing. Let's move to config the number matching. The first step is to config number matching is to set the number matching rules. The steps are first click trunk and rules and to turn to the number matching. Second, customize the name. Third, config the number prefix and length. For example, in the figure, we create a number matching rule named sales with a code prefix of 6 and the length of 7. And the rule named tag will be called prefix of 7 and the length of 7. Everyone can set corresponding rules according to the actual needs. After setting the number matching rules, we need to configure the rules. The steps are first, click the trunk and the rules, turn to the rules. Second, customize the name. Third, select the call source, zip trunk or app travel. Fourth, select the number matching rules, sales. Fifth, select the destination, ring group sales. Sixth, configure text rules using the same method. It will be automatically routed to the stat ring group. The fifth common call scenario is manipulation. Its main scenario is that when the call number or the caller number matches the preset rules, the call number or caller number will be changed during the calling process. For example, in the figure, the original call number is 1000 and after manipulation, it's changed to 10,086. This function can meet the needs of users for number display in specific scenarios. It can also provide privacy protection for phone numbers and offer features such as call forwarding and replacing the call number. To configure the manipulation, the steps are first, click trunk and rules and change to manipulation. Second, customize the name. Third, select the color manipulation mode and configure to convert the color from 1000 to 10,086. In addition to color manipulation, the system also supports code manipulation. Everyone can select the corresponding manipulation mode according to actual needs. After configuring the manipulation rule, we need to configure the root. The steps are first, click trunk and rules and return to root. Second, customize the name. Third, select the call source. Local extension. Fourth, select the manipulation rule. Fifth, select the destination zip trunk. Sixth, after making the call, users can check on the CDRs if the change was successful. It's very important to check the CDRs to confirm whether the manipulation functions takes effect. Okay, after learning the common core scenarios and their configuration, we will move on to the second part of the training, advances, features, and configuration. This part mainly includes 8 advanced features like event reports, voicemail, follow me, SCA, conference, LDAP, auto provision, and the API. These advanced features can greatly enrich the functions of UC/IP PBX and meet the diverse needs of users. Let's learn them one by one. First, let's learn about event reports. The event reporting type supported by the system includes call status, just like CDRs, the SIP extension register, unregistered, SIP trunk available or unavailable, and voice recording. These events types basically cover all key events in the operation of the system. Through event reporting, users can timely grasp the operation status of the system. Next, let's talk about event reports. Many people ask whether they can track call status of an SIP extension, the resolution, or the restoration of a SIP extensions, or even call recordings. We provide a comprehensive event report feature that fully supports real-time reporting of these data and activities. Let's take a look at the example. After the event report is checked, you can not only view it on the HTTP server, but also directly on the UC system. In my demo, I will show you in the later demo. Let's move to the service integrations and turn to event reports. And the IP address is our IP of the PC. Okay, I have already set it. And we turn to the HTTP server. Oh, just close. Okay, take example, the 8036 beacon is registered, right? And then we make it unregistered. And we can see the port will be shown in the HFS, the HTTP server. The call recording report, and we can see you see we can have a lot of the parameters list, just like the username, the network address, agent, SIP status, and here we just set the username and SIP status. So the username is 8036 and the SIP status become the unregistered. And we can also change it to registered. And accordingly, we can see the status of these extensions. The status becomes to register. And there are also other parameters we can try, but in these times we just display this. And we also have let's back up to the PowerPoint. And we also have the recording report. The core recording report is another common question. If you don't want recordings stored on the UC system itself, you can use event report to send them to another server. Simply enable recording reportings and enter the target URL. And it's best to specify a file path for easier storage. You can also assign different file names for different events. For example, after a call, the call log and the recording can be reported to a PC for reference. Let me show you a demo. The IP address is also the same as the IP of our PC, and the port will be the port we listen on the HTTP server. Let's try to make a call to see what's happened. Okay. And we can see the recording is downloaded in the desktop. And we may need to pay attention to the HTTP server must have the right permissions, just like this. Okay, let's move to the next part, the voicemail. The main functions of voicemail include first, message recording, storage. Callers can leave verbal message in the voicemail systems, and this message will be recorded and stored by the system. Second, auto answer polite refusal. When the user is unable to answer the call, the voicemail will automatically answer and guide the caller to leave a voice message. Third, the notification delivery. The voicemail system will notify the users via SMS, email, or phone when there are new messages. These functions can effectively avoid missing important calls. To use the voicemail function, we first need to configure the voicemail rule. The steps are first click Advanced Service and change to voicemail. You can second configure parameters such as the storage location and duration of voicemails as we needed. For example, you can set the master storage location and the slave storage location to local. Set the maximum number of message per user to 50 and set the minimum message time to 3 seconds. These parameters can be adjusted according to actual needs. After configuring the voicemail rule, we need to enable the voicemail function on the extension. The steps are first, click the extension and call group. Then we turn to C extensions or FCHAS. Second, enable the voicemail configuration. It should be noted that each extension that needs to use the voicemail function must be enabled separately. Because each ECP intention has their own options. So let's move to the next part. To enable the email notification function of voicemail, we need to configure the email. The steps are first, click system email and configuration. Second, set the parameters for sending emails. And third, after setting, perform a connect test. If the result is connected successful, you can save the mail configuration. It should be noted that the email password is usually the client passwords and the client passwords setting message varies depending on different email address. For example, the setting message of Tencent Enterprise email is provided in the note. After the extension set to message forwards email, the personal mailbox will receive the voice message file as an attachment and display the message, time, and the source number. Users can directly download the message file to listen to the message. As shown in the figure, the email contains the message time and the source number, and also this function is very convenient for users to check voicemails anytime and anywhere. And users can manage voicemail messages through the system. Under Advanced Service, Voicemail, and the Message List interface, detailed message information is displayed, including message time, call the caller and the source, and the call's destination, duration, etc. Users can manage play or download or just delete voice message files. This function allows users to effectively manage their own voicemails. And let me to show you a demo. And it's still the same extension, our soft phone. Let me confirm it first to make sure the option is open. Only by we turn on the voicemail, this option will make sense. And we can see that if we wanted to forward to email, we must to fill in the destination address. Just like you can fill in your own address. And the other is C. We don't need to. Let's just move to the 4090. Just need to. And we can see in the advanced service, the voicemail, this is the code I made before. So I just need, I made it again. While the ring timeout, it will become to the voicemail. And we can see it generates the according voicemails code. And we can see on the voicemail, on the mail, we also can see the corresponding call. And we can download it to check it. And pay attention, before we do this, just we put the call to the email. We need to set it in the system, and the email we need to complete the configuration. Okay, let's move to the next part. The follow me. Let's learn about the follow me. Its main scenarios are the users have multiple workstations, or the user can't receive calls from workstations during business trip or outgoings. The main function of follow me is to unify various commonly users communication numbers, mobile phone, office phone, or residential phone, into an extension number. So that anyone can find the user by simply dialing this number. This function can greatly improve the accessibility of users. And the configuration steps of follow me are as follows. First, click Advanced Service and change to Follow Me. Second, select the extension number and the ring strategy and the ring time. Third, we will configure the destination, which can be an extension number or mobile phone number. When configuring it is necessary to select the appropriate ring strategy and ring time according to the actual needs and ensure the accuracy of the destination number. The ring strategies spotted by Follow Me include two types, simultaneous and sequence. In this is ascending. Simultaneous means that all numbers ring together, and the sequence means starting from the extension and running from top to bottom. Users can select the appropriate ring strategy according to their own usage habits. On configuring the destination list of Follow Me, it should be noted that the time parameter indicates making calls within the specified time. but we don't need to show in this. And when select a trunk, users can configure a phone number. The destination number can only use these characters, and the maximum length is 32 characters. Now we come to SCA. Its main scenario is that managers need to focus on more important tasks and delect daily phone conversations to their secret, which improves their work efficiency. The main function of FCA is that all calls to the manage will be forwarded to the secretary extension. The main function, and then the system also supports multiple secretary extensions. Let's move to the config FCA. Configuration steps of FCA are as follows. First, click Advanced Service to SAA, and second, select the managed number and customize the managed private number. Third, select the secretary number and customize the secretary's private number. It should be noted that the private numbers of managers can be the same, and the secrets can be the same. The managed number must be a six-extension number that enables the SAA functions. When configuring, it's necessary to first enable the SAA function on the corresponding extension. As shown in the figure, the escape extension 72,140 has enabled the SAA functions, so it can be selected as a managed number. Okay, let's talk about the conference. We also support a conference filter for offering multiple modes, just like the public conference, which don't need to password request, and the private conference, which needs the passwords. This filter is frequently asked about by users and is very practical. The system provides two methods to invite members to the conference. The first method is through the system interface. First, click expand. Second, select the conference room that needs to invite people. Third, set the invite object, which can be room, local extension, or outside the line. Fourth, set the destination number. This message is suitable for inviting members in batch through the background. The second method is to invite members through DTM of operations. First, dial the conference number and password to join the conference. Second, press 1, and after hearing the prompt sound for entering the number, enter the extension number that needs to be invited. So this message is suitable for inviting members during the conference. Okay, let's show you a demo of it. It's also in the advanced service and conference. In here, we can set up a new conference. and the name, the number, and the public mode. If we don't need to, if need to be public modes, then we don't need to set the passwords. If need to be the not be the public modes, we need to set the passwords and the extension. Just dial the number which can join the conference. And also, it's also have a administrator's passwords, which is for the administrator. It's different the passwords. And make sure we enable the menu. The menu, while the menu is the second method we just mentioned, which can invite member or conference room during the meeting. Okay, let's move to the next part, the LDAP. The LDAP, first we need to configure the LDAP on the IPPBX, our UC IPPBX. The configuration steps on the IPPBX side are first click the address book and change to the LDAP setting. Second, the default configuration generally doesn't need to be changed. And third, the record parameters such as user and password for convenience IP phone configuration. The default base DN is just like this. And we also need to set up the LDAP on the IP phone. The configuration steps on the IP phone side are first click phone book and turn to LDAP. Second, change the server address to the corresponding IPPBS address and refer to the image for other configurations. Third, after the configuration is complete, the LDAP of the phone can display the extension number of the IPPBX. It should be noted that the server address must be filled in correctly. Otherwise, the phone can't connect to the IPPBX LDAP server. And let's move to the auto provision. In the next session, we will introduce how to use provision to deploy phones in batch. UC supports multiple batch deployment methods, and the basic principle is based on the phone's PNP, plug and play filter. When a phone powers on, it sends a subscribe message to the local network. Once UC detects this message, it responds and automatically discovers the phone on the LAN. During this process, UC can identify the phone's IP address, MAC address, firmware version, model, and the vendor information. If a configuration is available, UC will send a notify message to the phone to track the provisioning process. After receiving the notification, the phone requests a configuration file from the UC and downloads it, completing the batch deployment process. And the steps to assign extension to your phone through auto provision are first, click the extension and call group, enter to the phones. View the online IP phones that send subscribe to UC. Second, select the IP phone. Third, choose add the extension. And First, create an extension number or select an existing extension number. After assigning the extension to the phone, you can click Extension and Call Group in Phones, onto the phones to view the blending of the phone to the extension. The interface will display detailed information such as the extension number, vendor, and the model IP, MAC, and the firmware version of the phone. This is convenient for users to check the binding status. In addition to the above methods, you can also assign an extension to a phone through PIN code. The configuration steps are: first, click Extension Call Group and turn to the SIP extension. Second, select the extension and configure the PIN code. Third, after saving, check if the extension PIN code has been successfully configured. The PIN code is an important credential for the phone to obtain the configuration file. After configuring the PIN code, the activation steps are click the extension and call group to the phones. Second, view the config file. Third, activate the PIN code. And when the phone prompts, let's turn to the IP phone. When the phone prompts, please enter PIN and the PIN code. For example, 2000 and 205. The phone will download the configuration file from the UC, and the configuration will take effect. Okay, let's show you a demo. This is the first method. We just can in this. Let me see a useful extension. And this is the SIP extension, the details, the parameters. Yes. And just like this, we assign the extension to the specific phones, and we can load it to check it. And we can see the phone just gets the extensions number and the extension numbers and the passwords, and it makes the phone just registered. And another method is just when we set the SIP extensions, we can use the PIN code. And after we do that, we can see in the config file, uh, it will be shown the the pin code we just created before. And when we enable the pin code status, it will be shown in the IP phone just like this. And when we just impose the pin codes, it will make sense. Okay, let's move to the API. Finally, let's learn about the API. The API workflow is as follows. First, the client sends a request to the API endpoint with the necessary parameters. Second, the API server receives the request and validates the parameters. Third, if the parameters are valid, the API server processes the request and the retrieves to the necessary data. Fourth, the API server formats the data into the requested response format, such as JSON, XML, or other formats. The API server sends the response back to the client. And the key features. The key features of API include track, change, delete, call, and report. Track is to track device information, parameters, settings, and status. Change is to change settings, add is to create new settings. Delete is to delete existing settings. Call is to generate calls. Report is to report CDR call status, SIP information, and recording. These functions can help users realize secondary development and integration of the system. The first step to config API is to enable the API interface. The steps are first just click the service and change to API. Second, enable the API interface and change the passwords. It has a default passwords API. It's quite easy, right? And it's recommended to change the default passwords in time to ensure the security of the API interface. And after enabling the API interface, you need to get an MD5 crypt source. The method is to send an HTTP request from the HTTP server. For example, the source obtained in the figure is this string. And next, you need to calculate the passwords with the source. Users can calculate the password with the source on some encryption websites. This is a free website that can calculate the passwords with the source. And enter the passwords and the source. Select a appropriate algorithm, and you can get the hashed passwords. After calculating the hashed passwords, you can use the URL to get the token. For example, the token obtained in the figure is this string. The token is an important credential for calling the API interface, and the users need to keep it properly. After obtaining the token, users can send HTTP requests to UC to control the device through the API interface. For example, the post request in the figure is HTTP and the IP address API SMS, and the token is carried in the cookie. Users can call different API interface according to actual needs to realize the corresponding functions. Let me show you a simple demo of the API. First, we need to turn on the API, and the API password is and we can just launch an postman or just which can make the HTTP request. And just like we showed in the PowerPoint, we first need to get the source. Okay. Just turn on it. Never mind. This function is not used frequently, and we have an detailed document of it. So let's just get over of this. Okay, thanks. The training is over. Thank you, everyone.